Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for tonight's match review of, disappointingly, Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 2. Very interesting game. Certainly, Arsenal came with a game plan, and you have to say it very much worked. The refereeing, I've said this many, many times with this Chris Kavanagh guy, that he is one of the worst in the Premier League. He has no authority on that pitch at all, none at all. And, it was clear to see yesterday that that was the case. Certainly in the ground, every decision, he looked very nervous about speaking to the players. He looked very, he didn't want to book anybody. He was very, very weak. I don't know how that came across on commentary, Billy, but it was just pathetic.
Well, you could tell by the amount of scuffles and melees there were between players that he didn't get in the middle of and stop things happening. So, absolutely had no intention of getting him involved in making sure the players abided by the rules. I was quite happy for it to continue that way, which was ridiculous, really. Yeah.
Jack, the team lineup itself, there was rumblings, certainly when I got to the ground yesterday, that Isak was going to play alongside Wilson, and possibly Botman was going to be missing, but that didn't happen. But were you happy to see Wilson and Isak go together?
On the Botman thing, I'll come on to Isak. I didn't hear anything about Botman. I was going
around the ground. Somebody obviously said something at the ground, and then it just, you know what it's like.
I was going to say, I didn't hear anything online. But anyway, about Isak and Wilson, I had a bit of confidence. Obviously, I predicted them to start together because I thought Arsenal will get 3 points. That's kind of top four cemented as third place. And I thought Eddie Howe might feel, Wilson's been performing, Isak's been performing. They worked very well together. They gel well together. They perform brilliant as a pair. And I thought that was the right game to do it. As Eddie Howe did say in his pre-match interview, he thought this was the right game to do it. I think there's no reason to bench one and start one because they've both been performing very well together. So I thought it was only a matter of time before they start together. And I wasn't too surprised when they start together because I thought it's bound to happen one week or another. So I was quite confident when that starting 11 came out. Obviously, no Longstaff. I thought that might, like Billy said, that might down our chances a little bit in midfield. But I was very, very confident.
Alex, the game wasn't without controversy, of course. The penalty incident. I'm still going by the line that it was a penalty for me. I was right behind it. The cameras. For me, the camera angles didn't really pick it up like I saw it at the game, because he hit that shot and he put his arm out to block the shot and it hit his hand. I am in no doubt, and the rest of the fans that were alongside me were in no doubt. We were right behind it, but the camera angle seems to make it look a bit more difficult than it was. For me, it was a penalty, but again, the amount of time it took to make a decision, yet then we see the West Ham Man United game, and Man United's deemed not a handball within 30 seconds. I mean, it's mental.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've got two answers for this. So, I think it was, I don't think it was a penalty. I think it did hit his thigh first, but again, it hit his arm second. And there's been so many variations of the handball rule. There's different variations of it in Europe. It's applied differently in the Champions League. We get a different version of it here. It's been chopped and changed a couple of times in the last 5 or 6 years. And it is frustrating. But I think you said the correct thing there is it did take too long to ascertain whether it was a penalty or not a penalty. And in that situation, you should just stick to the on-field decision, which was pen. I do think it probably, with the rules as they are at the moment, it's probably not a pen. But again, based on how long it took to ascertain that, you just got to stick with the on-field decision. And secondly, as for the West Ham thing, I think we're at a point now where I'm not going to have any sort of arguments with any other clubs outside the Big Six. I'm going to try and get people on our side now. West Ham, Aston Villa, Everton, us. I don't care who they are. I'm sick of the Big Six and the different treatment that they're getting. Yeah. Arsenal, Man United, it's all of them. And I think and like Brighton as well, struggling against sort of poor calls. I think we just need to unite now and say, look, let's stop having a go at each other. Let's try and upset the apple cart here. Let's try and break into the top 6 and completely disrupt them. Because there's a few clubs that could do that if we push Villa, Brighton, and us 3 specifically next season. I understand that Chelsea will probably recover and be a force next year, as will Liverpool. But if us 3 clubs can really give it a good go, we can change it.
I mean, look, everybody's going to have a different opinion of the penalty. I think, from where I sat, it hit his hand. I didn't see anything off his thigh. I'm still, when I've seen it on TV, I'm still not sure. But look, it wasn't given at the end of the day. But again, it was the length of time it took. It was ridiculous. The referee gave the penalty. And again, this clear and obvious thing has to come into, to be talked about, because if it's clear and obvious, that isn't again clear and obvious, which means surely, Billy, they have to go with the referee's original decision.
Yeah, well, he did it with the same method did it at Brentford. I think it might have been, that went with his original view. Then VAR told him to look again. And he changed his mind when he had the most perfect view in the house. To me, I'm not sure how he's seen it. Anyway, there's a player in front of him. I thought it was handball. I've looked at it today. I'm now not so sure, but it's clear and obvious. Absolutely not. If it's taken 7 minutes to decide whether it's a definite thigh and not an arm, then it's not clear and obvious, is it?
I mean, he is one of the worst referees in the Premier League, and nowhere in hell's earth should somebody like Chris Kavanagh be given such a big game. He is one of the worst. I will stick by that until I'm blue in the face.
Can I just mention something about his refereeing, though? It didn't actually... there was nothing wrong with the officiating in terms of the goals. The goals were just unfortunate and poor positioning from us, poor defending. So I'm quite happy that his bad officiating didn't actually result in like a scrappy goal or a controversial goal. The 2
you're
goals
right.
we conceded were clean goals. We just weren't good enough. But it was it makes it even weirder that we're so angry with the ref, because his just general performance was so poor. It was awful.
Well, look, I think I saw yesterday that when you came on at halftime, Alex, and you disagreed a little bit with Jack, but I thought you both had good points. To be fair, when I watched it back, I thought, you're both making good points, and I think what I saw, or what I've seen today, is Jack. There's a lot of Arsenal fans are making things up about. I mean, they're making this big thing about Shea elbowing Jesus. Now.
They clipped that video.
What they've done is they've clipped it. That's what I mean. They've clipped the legs. That tackle was a superb tackle. It was a hard tackle, but he won the ball. And, if you look at Jesus, he puts his head into it. It wasn't Shea going to elbow in the face or anything like that. It was a brilliant tackle. And the thing about Jesus is, if it was that bad and he was that hurt, he rolled off the pitch, but then had the nous to roll back on to waste more time, Jack.
Ridiculous. Shea, well done. What a tackle. That is what you call, in the modern day of football, giving something back in the right way. He got frustrated with Jesus, but he didn't think, I'm going to go foul him and get a yellow card or a red card. But I'm going to go and win the ball and give him something whilst winning the ball. He went through the ball and went through the play at the same time. And he won the ball fair and square. But now, we're Newcastle United. We wear black and white. Referees see that and give a foul. And Jesus, what is he doing? What is he doing? As you said, Paul, rolls off the pitch, rolls back on. And that is exactly time wasting and trying to take the sting out of the game, because they knew we were kind of getting back into the game at that point. But well done. Jesus, F off, honestly.
Exactly. Stanley Waters, thank you for your membership. I'm not sure whether that's new or renewed, but thank you, Stanley, for your support of the channel. As indeed, P. Keith, thank you very, very much as well. for your continued support of the channel as well. And if you do want to donate to the channel, as usual, guys, hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and that'll take you through if you want to support us. As usual, we'd appreciate that very, very much. Shamrock says he's seen the video of the Arsenal fan incident in the Newcastle end. Does anyone know what happened? Yeah, basically, I don't know how he's come to attain a ticket in level 7, but he did. And Arsenal scored the first goal through, obviously, Odegaard. And then this guy started jumping and cheering and basically throwing dog's abuse at the families around him. Now, obviously, level 7 is the family enclosure. There's lots of kids in there. He was swearing at the kids. He was making his mouth go. Some of the other guys told him to shut up, and then he started punching and kicking out at Newcastle fans. Eventually, obviously, he'd angered too many, and he took a few bats himself before security, took him out the ground. I've seen a lot of people today whose kids were up there and basically were quite upset at what they'd seen, rightly so. But I don't know how he came to obtain a ticket in level 7 as it is. I find that very strange.
Selfish as well.
Well, very selfish, but the guy was an arsehole, quite honestly, and trying to start fights and everything. Look, there was a few people at that game yesterday who were absolutely blooded out the head. I was doing some interviews at the end of the game yesterday, and these, what I can only describe as absolute morons, off the faces on I don't know what, Newcastle fans tried to jump in front of the camera all the time until, I'd lost it, almost, gave him a dig. But then I moved around the corner to film. He tried to come back again, and big shout out to Darren, who was there, just blocked him and said, if you go any further, I'm knocking you out. So the ran off screaming and kicking as usual. But yeah, not great. And they're the things that you don't want to see in a football match, quite honestly. Call Me Swift said, I read everyone frustrating one yesterday. I'm sick of these referees, but we move on to the next, still in good spirits. Chipper says, I think yesterday was a penalty. It wasn't clear or obvious. And the fact that it takes over 5 minutes to make the mind up sums everything up. This Chris Don, he's Alan Shearer, Anton Deck, Biker Grove. Your boys took one hell of a beating. Yeah, all right, Chris, lap it up. But listen, what I will say is,
was it?
No, if that's the way that you guys want to challenge to win football matches and things like that by rolling around, crying all game and time wasting, Arteta was, so angry with us after the game at the Emirates, making his mouth go constantly about time wasting and things like that. And then yesterday, he decides to call that good game management. But for Newcastle, it's dark arts. And I'm getting really, really pissed off with this crap now about dark arts. Yet, if any other team does it, especially in the top 6, it's game management. Either it's game management or it's dark arts. It's one of the two. But stop labeling Newcastle United with dark arts. And just because it's the top 6 again, my God, you can't say anything, but it was genius and good management and stuff like that. Bullshit, right? Absolute bullshit.
No, really. I mean, I predicted that this could be the game of the season. We couldn't match them at the Emirates. We tried to for 20 minutes, and we didn't have the technical quality to sort of to run with them at that point in the season. But now we did, and we do have that ability. And it's a real shame because I was hoping Arsenal were going to come out and try and challenge that. Maybe they're just wobbled a bit recently in recent weeks, but I was hoping that they were going to come out and try and play for it. We were going to go out and play for it, and it was going to be an incredible game of football.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that fine, we did it at the Emirates, fair enough, but it is a little bit of a shame. I was hoping sort of league leaders for the majority of the season that they were going to come and try and put on a show.
Yeah.
We were going to have a great game of football. So a little bit disappointed, really. But
I think they needed to score first for that to happen now. And once they scored first, I think that kind of shut the game down, didn't it?
I think had that Murphy shot gone in, Billy, it might have been a very different game when that came off the post. But on the flip side, right, I'm not taking anything away from Arsenal here. They came with a game plan to do a job on us, and they did it, right? Whether we like it as Newcastle fans or not, they did it. They ended up with the 3 points, which is what they were focused on getting. And I guess at this stage of the season, it doesn't matter how they get the 3 points. We've said that about us in challenging for the Champions League. It doesn't matter what happens in that game as long as we come out with the 3 points. And Arsenal did yesterday. as a fan, it was disappointing to see them do that. But, you know, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're not going to mind because you've got the 3 points, Jack.
Exactly. That's what they're here to do. And that's exactly because at this stage of the season, you're beginning to be a bit tired. You just want the season to end. I mean, Arsenal are fighting for a title here. They'll get any 3 points they can to fight with City, because City top at league. And all they did yesterday, no matter how they played, they focused on them 3 points, and they don't care how they get it or what happens in the game. As long as they walk away from Newcastle or anywhere they're going with 3 points, that's all they care about. And respect to them, they got it. And some days that's going to happen to us, but that's all they were focused on yesterday, and they got it.
I mean, look, we could talk we're blue in the face about Arsenal's tactics, but for ourselves, I guess certain players didn't turn up yesterday. I thought Bruno had one of his worst games I've ever seen in a black and white shirt yesterday. But to me, I'm not sure whether Bruno is 100% fit, guys. Over the last few games, it looks like he's slowing up. Now, I don't know. I think this ankle injury has given him more problems than I think he's making out. Because I watched him closely yesterday, and his mobility doesn't seem as good as it was, Alex. And he has already stated that he's going to get this ankle looked at in the summer. But I do think it's playing a part. You know, yes, Sean Longstaff as well. Don't forget that. Who scored?
Forrest.
Oh,
I want ye. Good goal.
That's good to knock Everton down again.
I think if Southampton lose tonight, they've done.
Oh, they're gone anyway.
They're gone anyway, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I obviously Longstaff missing Alex is a big thing, and we've spoke about that on previous shows. But I think this injury, and look, it's not Bruno's fault. He's been targeted for games after game, you know, on that ankle. It's bound to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it cost us the goals. I understand
No.
He gave away that free kick, but the goal didn't come from the free kick. There were a good sort of 10 passes after that free kick, and it wasn't dealt with. So I refuse to really accept that it's Bruno's fault there. Everybody gives away free kicks, you know. Wasn't really at fault for the second goal either. But yeah, it was probably his worst game in a black and white shirt, but probably close to being one. Mobility, I'd agree, a little bit slower in terms of his awareness. Well, he probably is aware, but he's not quite as sharp. I think he could just do with the season finishing as soon as possible. Having a few weeks rest, going to a specialist, whether he needs surgery. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me if he has surgery on it. You know, sort of at the start of the summer, and then comes back. Maybe not even for the start of the season. Maybe he comes back in August at some point. We'll have to see. But I mean, it is down to. I think it was more down to Longstaff being missing. I mean, I'm sure we'll go on and speak about the goals, but there was nobody coming out of the area and closing anything down. And I mentioned this at half time. We were defending reasonably well, but then there were people were just given the run of the 18-yard box. Arsenal were just dinking it about. Nobody was challenging. This is something that John Joe Shelby used to do brilliantly. Longstaff has now started doing it brilliantly. We'll just charge down and not give people time or space. And there were so many situations where, you know, this is where Willock you can't give Willock that much responsibility because he is an attacker. He is an attacker. He doesn't do what Longstaff does. There was just nobody closing down anybody at the box. Byrne obviously was stuck central, so wasn't assisting on that side of the 18-yard box. Willock wasn't pressing out. Joe Linton, probably you could give a little bit of blame to, with his defensive responsibility in the team, should have been coming out and pressing a bit more. And yeah, a little bit of Bruno, a little bit of Longstaff not being there.
Yeah, I mean, the first goal for Arsenal, look, we can talk about us not pushing out quick enough or getting out to Odegaard, but listen, if Isak was to score that goal, we'd be screaming. You know, it was a wonderful hit.
It was very avoidable, though.
Very much so. But, you know, when you look back at a lot of goals, Alex, they're avoidable, aren't they? But he struck it as sweet as a nut. And I knew that the second it left his boot, I said, goal, that's in. Obviously, Nick Pope didn't see it till late, but it was just a really strong hit. And I think after the penalty, Billy, and Arsenal taking the lead, it kind of knocked the stuffing out of us. Before you answer that, we've had a £5 super chat in from Aaron Crowler. He says, if Arsenal finish second and us third, Have the Toon had a more successful season than Arsenal, having made a cup final as well? I think so. 2-0 Forest?
Yeah, 1 a year again.
Wow. I don't know. Listen, I'm not really bothered about whether we've had a bigger successful season than Arsenal. I just want to focus on us. But it did knock the stuffing out of us, Billy. And, after that, we kind of huffed and puffed with I mean, we had chances. Share missed a good opportunity second half, but there was some good saves by Nick Pope made towards the end of that first half, because if they'd have scored a second and third, it could have been a lot worse yesterday.
Yeah, I think the first goal was the all-important goal. I think once we'd started so well and not scored, and then for them to kind of their first shot really score from it, it's going to knock the stuffing out of you. We'd made the decision to go with Isak and Wilson. Once you're behind and you're chasing the game, that's the kind of time you want them, but couldn't get Isak in the game. We stopped getting Murphy in the game, and he was the key for it. The great start we made. Yeah, it was a bit of a cockable run, and like people have said, Bruno wasn't at the races yesterday. Joe Linton I don't think he feels comfortable that side of midfield. Willock's not defensively strong, and it enabled the slow Arsenal midfield to run over ours in times yesterday. I thought Odegaard was fantastic at times. I thought Jorginho controlled the game, and I thought Gabriel Jesus as centre forward, what a shift he put in. I mean, look, alone, Christ.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we have to be balanced on this and say, that although they were falling over like they've been shot some of the time, Saka especially, I was really disappointed with Saka. I was like Alex said, I was looking forward to seeing Saka yesterday, just because of the form he's been on, but the amount of times he fell over and rolled around was absolutely ridiculous. Stanley, thank you for your £5 super chat. He says, pleased to be back after a month in the Freeman in hospital having a heart attack. Missed you guys. Pleased to be alive. Stanley, glad you're back, mate, and fighting back to health. So thank you so much for rejoining and everything like that. And we wish you continued recovery and good health, matey. So nice to see you back. But one guy I was impressed with, whether people like this or not, was Granit Xhaka. He made a defensive run in that second half. And it was highlighted actually on social media today. He ran from an attacking position to getting back to tackle Willock, which he made so much ground up. The thing I'm saying is, people are focusing a lot on Arsenal diving and time wasting and things like that, but they do have some very good players, Jack, and that's why they are where they are.
Yeah, they've got. I mean, especially the midfield is class. I mean, you got like Thomas Partey. I mean, Jorginho really stepped up to the plate. When I saw Jorginho, I'm like, we'll get at him today, because I feel like they needed energy and pace in that midfield contest with our midfield. But yeah, they got a tough midfield, especially Xhaka, despite what you think of him and despite what he did yesterday. But he is a class, and that tackle against Willock. If he didn't get that tackle in, or I don't know what the score was at that point, but it would have gone in. Class players, they've got a class midfield, and that just shows what Xhaka did, and that's exactly where they are, because they invested well in the summer, and they like basically like what we've done. They've invested smartly. They've not just gone out like a Chelsea and spent loads of money. They've invested very reasonably, and then they've invested really well like us, and that's why they are where they are, and they've done a very good job at it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about putting shifts in, Alex, and yesterday there wasn't a Newcastle player I could accuse of not trying or putting the effort in or anything like that. It was just one of those things that, it didn't work out. Had we taken a couple of chances, it very much would be a different result today. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But, if there's a couple of people not at the races for Newcastle, especially when they're the better ones, because I thought Joe Linton was a bit off yesterday as well. It does affect. We just can't get going.
I don't know. I don't feel like there were that many people off the not at the races. I thought Bruno struggled because of his injury, but tried his best. I thought on the whole we were fine. I thought we got cut open a couple of times, not because we did anything specifically wrong, but because Arsenal have just got a lot of quality, and they will do that sometimes. I thought we were fine. I thought we hit the post a couple of times. We had more shots than they did. We were very unfortunate in front of goal. We out XG'd them. on a different day, like we said, that Odegaard shot should have been closed down. It wasn't. As a very avoidable goal, and as the second goal as well was that it could have gone anywhere. Just one of those things. I don't think I'm not going to be disappointed with anybody's performance. Really, I thought we were fine. I think if we play like that against any of the remaining 4 teams, we will blow them out of the water because they're not going to be as difficult as Arsenal. Albeit Brighton could be, depending on which Brighton turn up. Probably not the ones from today.
No.
But
I don't think Brighton will play like that again this season.
And I will highlight as well. I think as a number of Arsenal players have been absolutely robbed of that Man of the Match award. I don't think Jorginho was Man of the Match at all. I think it was a lot of sideways passing. I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is. He is a great player. He's a top player in the Premier League. But Man of the Match, ahead of what? Literally Odegaard and Xhaka putting in an incredible shift. Kivior as well. Some of the last ditch.
Yeah, considering the Arsenal fans, I spoke to before the game was saying about him. Yeah,
how has Jorginho got Man of the Match there? The others have been robbed.
For me, it was Xhaka. Xhaka. Although he did go down a couple, he did take a nasty blow to the ankle, or I think it was the heel or something. But look, for me, it just wasn't to be yesterday. It's one of those there we have to just forget very quickly. I'm sure Eddie already has. He's focused on Leeds, which unfortunately for us is a lunchtime kickoff on Saturday, which is a pain in the arse. Paul Tully makes a good point here as well. We were sat too deep and just failed to close quickly, which is strange for us. I mean, he says about the first goal, but I noticed in the second half, when Arsenal, came into our half, we weren't terrier-like, Billy, like we normally are after them. We didn't go out. We gave them. I mean, did we give them too much respect? I don't know.
I mean, a lot of it was because our fullbacks, the right back especially, was too far up the pitch. I think that's where the goal came from. He couldn't get back quick enough. We were forced to go bottoming against Martinelli. No race there, and once the cross come in, but yeah, we just seemed a bit not quite there to yesterday, even though we played reasonably well at times. I thought at times we were the better side. I thought Ramsdale kept him in it at certain times, without a doubt. But we just didn't seem quite there, giving the ball away.
Yeah, I agree.
Sloppy at times. We didn't get our key men into the game enough. I thought we needed to get Isak in the game. I thought when Maxi came on, it suited us better, actually. They didn't go forward. I mean, every time Isak got the ball, there was 3 or 4 men on him, which was... respecting itself.
I mean, he did force a good save, didn't he, when he went for a corner? And I think he did give us a bit of a spark. It begs the question, though, should he have gone with Isak and Wilson? Because, again, people were saying before the game...
I think he had to, though. I think
everybody
else...
there was Gordon there, wasn't there? I mean, Gordon's had his opportunities.
But Gordon struggled and is being given a break out of the team. Maxi's not fully fit, presumably not fully fit to play 90 minutes. Miggy never plays left side under Howe, so there isn't another option really.
Just for me, Isak wasn't in the game enough first half. I mean, look, he made a couple of good runs, but he wasn't involved as much as he should have been.
I think he was. He was just deep.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
That's a result of the whole.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Shape,
he couldn't make an impact because he was too deep. That was the problem.
Not necessarily his fault,
No.
One man to go at either. It was always 2 or 3. It was always.
Yeah, but he was frustrated. He wasn't getting the ball. He was coming deep.
But this is the problem that Maxi has, and then a lot of people will criticise Maxi for not being able to have an impact and say, "Oh, he was useless today." Well, look what happens to Isak in the same position. You've seen how good Isak is with that assist the other week. How quality he is.
Yeah,
it happens to any. It doesn't matter who you put there. If they get mobbed and there's too many players to take on, and you don't have space to run into, you will always get that end result. We just need to stop being so hypercritical of anybody we put on the left wing. It's becoming a bit of a joke.
Yeah. Spike Milligan, thank you for your £20 super chat, mate. Thanks for your continued support as well. Not mentioning Arsenal's dark arts or referees' poor control. We never pressed them or closed them down. I agree with that, and that was said a lot, especially second half. Ian says, "Good evening to everybody. Thought you were going to take that prick's head off after the match. I was close, mate. I was close, but luckily it didn't have to. He just toddled off. I'll Let's have a look. Johnny Awayman says, to add salt to the wounds, they gave Ramsdale the ball after the VAR decision. Well, they're going to, aren't they? Because it's obviously he's going to, after the VAR decision, he's going to take a goal. He's going to kick the game back off. Glad to see Brighton get smashed. I had a Brighton fan on social media today slobbering about Newcastle being the biggest time wasters in the league and we deserved yesterday's defeat. Well, I haven't seen a lot of Brighton fans have a dig at us, but like Alex says, I think it's about time that the rest of the league came together and actually stopped this, because West Ham fans have been very, very vocal about the cartel again this weekend.
Yep.
And have said that the same happens to Newcastle, etc. And it's there for all to see. Jack,
Brighton fans leaving their stadium in 75 minutes though, which was a little bit premature.
Well, yeah.
The thing is, there's levels in this Big Six as well, because Spurs are one of the Big Six. But when they're playing against Liverpool, for instance, Liverpool get the preferential decisions. It's all about Liverpool and Manchester United, and they're the closest to the top four.
Yeah, I do believe it is Liverpool, Manchester. Listen, Manchester City for me are just a brilliant football side, managed by a brilliant football manager, and they don't have to rely on anything like that. Liverpool and Manchester United, 100%. I mean, we've seen decisions in the last few weeks, both for Liverpool and Man United, that are absolutely incredible. I mean, listen, the goal West Ham had disallowed yesterday for a foul on De Gea, that was never a foul. I mean, never in a million years. De Gea feels a little slight brush on his face and he goes down like he's been elbowed in the head. It's ridiculous. And, again, it's just proof of the pudding that they want Liverpool and Manchester United in the top four. I am under no illusion about that anymore. That is the way it is. They can't hide it anymore, Jack, can they? It's just there.
Honestly, it's just becoming a joke at the minute. It's just a joke. I mean, that Liverpool one, shambles. Man United, shambles. They're trying so hard not to get like the likes of Newcastle, Brighton, Aston Villa into Europe, because it ruins, because they love that big image of Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, Spurs, Man City. They love that Big Six image, and they can't stand it having Newcastle in there, Brighton, Aston Villa. They can't stand it, so they're doing everything in their power to stop us doing that. But unfortunately, Premier League, you can't, because we're too good for you, and they're trying so hard, and it's becoming a bit of a joke at the minute.
Do you know what the ridiculous thing about it is? Not 2 years ago, this Big Six wanted to break away from the Premier League. Short memories. Very short.
But look, I mean, there's people in the chat having a dig at the Arsenal fans. I mean, look, I thought Arsenal fans were superb yesterday, by the way. They were so loud and sang the whole game. Now, it might have been different had they been getting beat, obviously. But from a Newcastle fans' point of view, I thought they were one of the best set of away supporters we've seen at the ground for noise. And look, they're going to sing. Their team's winning. Of course, they're going to sing and celebrate. We would do exactly the same. So I'm not going to have a go at Arsenal fans either, to be honest. Darren, thank you very much, mate, for your $4.99 super chat. He says, hello, boy, not the end of the world yesterday. Defeat Bruno, worst game in a black and white top. Do you think he needs the operation, Paul? Well done yesterday. I do think he needs it looking at. Again, whether it needs surgery, that's up to medical staff and things like that. To be honest, we'll just have to wait and see. I do think he looks a little bit off at the minute, he off the pace, but that could be anything. We'll see when. I mean, look, we don't know if Longstaff's going to be back this season now. I think it was very interesting what Eddie said on him, that they thought it was just bruising, and it turns out that it could be something else. I think that's very, very worrying, Alex, considering, we need Longstaff in that team.
I mean, we don't need him in the team, but, he brings us something different.
Well, I think we do. I think we miss him. We desperately miss him.
Yeah, we've missed him, but we need to be able to solve these problems. We need to be dynamic enough. People have to step up to the plate. We've got to be able to get results without certain players. We can't keep saying this. Oh, we've lost today because we're missing Bruno. Well, we've lost today because Isak's not back yet. Or we've lost today because Longstaff's still not in the squad. We've got to be able to get results without players fit. It's how it's always going to be. We're always going to get injuries or people missing for whatever reason. We can't keep saying that. Fine. This is acceptable because it's against one of the best teams in the league who've been, pretty much at the top of the Premier League for the entire season. Should we be losing to teams like Leeds when we're missing just one player? No, we should still be winning that game. And that's Eddie Howe's job to try and find a way to get the team to gel. He talks so often about the balance in his press conferences, and the balance isn't right. We are missing that extra profile of midfielder. And to be honest, it's John Joe Shelvey, really. He'd have been good cover for this run-in now. If we could have, I'm not saying he's brilliant, but he would have been, he could have put in an hour's performance, just positionally being a little bit better and understanding that threat. And it's what we don't have at the moment. We're just missing that additional midfielder. We saw Gordon drop into an 8 yesterday. We've seen Anderson play in the 8 a few times. We're one midfielder short at the moment. And it is pretty unbalanced every time we play a game without Longstaff. You are right, but we've still got to find a way to win without him.
Yep. Chippers, thank you very much for your £10 super chat. He says we had 10 corners and plenty of set pieces, and they were not good enough. We need more from these chances.
Corners were poor.
I'm not going to say anything more because Trippier, I don't know what it is. It just, the corners yesterday were absolutely abysmal. They were abysmal. And I don't know why somebody else isn't saying to Trippier, just because he's captain doesn't mean, you can't go and say, look, I'll take this. We've got many people on that pitch who can take a set piece or a corner. It doesn't have to be Trips all the time. And it's starting to really piss me off, to be honest, because, every time it goes for a corner, fans are getting excited and think, come on, come on. And then when it comes to the corner being taken, it just fizzles out. Sometimes we don't hit the first man. Sometimes it's going right over the top of everybody. And we don't threaten from corners. Now, you think about the size that we have in that penalty area for corners, the height advantage that we have over a lot of teams. We should be scoring from a lot more corners than we actually do, Billy.
Yeah, we had 10 corners, but one could have resulted in a penalty. Probably should have done, on the law aside. And another one ended up with a share header that probably should have scored from. So a fifth of those corners were good corners, in my opinion. It's the people that are heading the ball in at times. You can't just blame the set piece taker. Well, set piece in general, whatever it's a corner or set piece. I think Trippier's deliveries, they're not always going to be perfect. I think they're being a bit harsh on Trippier because I think at times it's not just the taker that's at fault. It's outside forwards just cannot head a ball.
The fans around me, Billy, they're really, really getting fed up with it because you see,
there's a lot of casual fans there. You've got to understand.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
if it doesn't go in the net, people will just go, Trippier on corners.
Look, if you look how many corners we've had to actually converting them to chances or goals,
but against Arsenal, that was 2.
Yes, but look over the season. It's not good enough.
This is the Arsenal review.
It's not good enough, though, Alex, and that's why I want to change. There's a lot of fans who are season ticket holders yesterday who are there every game.
Not making sense, mate. This is the Arsenal review, though. 1/5 of the chances.
I thought they were shit yesterday. A lot of the fans thought they were shit.
So what about the Shah header and the should have been penalty?
Should have been penalty. Which should have been penalty?
Corners.
What should have been penalty?
Could have been penalty. Whatever you're going to say.
The handball was
the handball that came from a corner, as did the share header that was point blank saved.
Yeah, but the corner was cleared. It was a terrible corner that led to that shot. It wasn't a good corner. It really wasn't. I was there. I sat and watched it. It was a rubbish corner. It was cleared. The shot then comes in, and that's the penalty incident. It wasn't a good corner. It's not good enough.
We had chances created from corners,
wasn't it? And it went back. Trippier crossed it in.
Yeah.
Headed
it's
out.
Not good enough. But look,
you're chatting shit. I'm afraid.
I'm not chatting shit. I'm not chatting shit. Because I know for a fact that a lot of people in that ground yesterday were getting very frustrated with our set pieces and corners.
Frustrated, but we had chances because.
But then you're calling them like you're not saying that the fans aren't there every game. They are. It's the same fans in there.
But there are lazy fan opinions where if a corner doesn't go in, people will just blame.
But they're not lazy fan opinions, Alex. They're not good enough. They're not every single time we do
we're
match
about the
reviews.
Arsenal game.
We talk about
I'm on about specifically the Arsenal game.
right. It still wasn't good enough. We had 10 corners and how many free kicks?
I'm not sure how many free kicks.
Exactly.
We're
a lot.
about
We had a
corners.
lot of
We're
free
talking
kicks
about
either side
corners.
of the penalty area and created nothing. Absolutely nothing.
We're talking about corners. You've changed the topic.
No.
It's a very different setup.
Corners and set pieces, Alex. That's
We
what
do
we're
need
talking about.
variation.
Well, no,
No
because a
doubt.
free kick's a completely different beast. Because you can have a
Oh,
direct
come on,
free
Alex.
kick. No.
Nah.
Let me say. No. You can't say it and then not let me say my bit.
The
Free
crossing
kicks.
was shit.
No, Paul. Free kicks can be a direct free kick. You can go for a shot. You can roll it into somebody. You can do a billion different things with a free kick. Corners is completely different. Corners is a cross in or a short corner. That's it. That's how corners work. Completely different beasts. Just because they can be the same with a floated cross, they're not the same thing at all.
Yes, but
you can't compare
what
them
I'm
like
saying is there's no variation. There isn't any variation.
There is massive variation in
Oh,
corners.
come on, Alex. Are you watching the same game?
You're not watching the same game. There's been so many.
Clearly,
different
I'm not.
corner
I'm sitting
routines.
there in the freaking ground, Alex. I'm watching it.
Every week on a review, we go, oh, did you see that new corner routine that they tried? It didn't work, but we can see they're trying new routines every single week. It's not
Every
always
single
the coaching
week.
staff's
I don't
fault.
think we do, Alex.
Every single
You
week.
need
there's a
to
new
go
corner
back and
routine.
watch them, mate, 'cause
Joe
we
Linton
don't.
takes them. Maxi took a corner yesterday. We're trying different takers. We're trying different short layups and different things. Against Arsenal, we had a
They
couple of
aren't
chances from corners.
good enough. We don't create enough from corners or set pieces.
No, I agree. We don't. I agree. But against Arsenal, we did. We could have scored from one. We should have scored from one.
Yeah, from 1 out of 10.
Well,
Out of 10.
the penalty thing was because of a corner build-up.
Oh.
Regardless of whether you say it was shit or not.
That's still
it
only
was
2
from a
out of
corner
10.
build-up.
That's still only 2 out
That's
of 10 with
fine.
the amount of height
That's
we've got in that
brilliant.
penalty area.
That is
Come
brilliant.
on.
20% of corners resulting in good chances is a good ratio.
Jack, what's your opinion on it?
I don't think the set pieces were. I think a few of the set pieces weren't good enough, but a few of them did kind of result into good moments of play. But I'm going to leave it to you two because you're making the show tonight. Lads. 5 stars out of 5 stars out of 5
Jack,
stars.
bottle it.
On the
Agree with
fence.
it. Do it.
You cannot sit on the fence.
I need to go get my popcorn because I'm loving this. And
We need a poll. Is
I
Paul
think
shite, yes or no?
I think some
Right.
of them were all
I'll
right.
tell you what, Alex, you're on. Let's do it. Right. Somebody keep talking while I set this up, please. Because I'm just sick of the set pieces. I really am.
Make sure you word it right, though. Don't just say all
Oh,
set
no.
pieces.
Hey, I'm setting the poll up. I will word it.
Yeah.
I will word it.
It's not just about the set piece take, it's about the people in the middle as well. You can't just blame Trippier for ball crosses when.
Yes, you can.
When they're slicing off people's heads when they should be heading them into the net.
You've
Come
got
on.
Joe Linton, Byrne, Botman, Share. Like, they've got to be winning some of those. And it's normally
It's
Share, and he's the
3-1
smallest out of the lot.
3-0.
3-1.
Jesus.
3-1.
3-1. Right, Alex, how would you like me to word the question for the poll? I'm even giving you this.
Did we create enough chances from corners against Arsenal?
No, set pieces.
No, because that was not the original topic. It was corners. You added free kicks in later. It's corners. You came in with 10 corners. You can't change the goalpost now.
All right. Sod you.
You literally came in with 10 corners. That was your question.
You have it your way, right?
But it's your way. That was how you framed the question originally.
Right.
Go back and watch it.
Kieran Trippier didn't take all 10 of them either because Target took 2.
No, he didn't. And I'm pretty sure Maxi took one as well.
Maxi didn't. Maxi took a little short one to Trippier before
I mean,
Trippier came
that still
running over. Bollocks! Right. The poll that I'm putting up says, did we create enough chances from corners against Arsenal? Does that suit you, Alex?
It's fine.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. That poll is now up. So we will see at the end of the show what the answer is to that. If you're on Alex's side or mine. Billy, piss off. You're not allowed to vote. It's like one of those kids shows on a Saturday morning, or a radio show. If you're part of the show, you're not allowed to vote.
I've just voted.
Jackie can piss off, or you'll be fired. Right.
He voted for you though.
Sorry?
He voted for you, so you'll do what then, yeah?
Well, we'll just wait and see. By the way, moving away slightly on a much more happier note, congratulations to the women's team, by the way, on sealing promotion at last out of their division. And it just so happens that they've changed the rules for next season. The two teams automatically go up next season when Newcastle have already gone up this year. So thank God they're out of that league. They're up to the next one. So a massive, huge congratulations to Becky and the girls. It was massive pressure on them yesterday going to third place Barnsley, but to come away with a 2-0 win, which meant they won the league on goal difference. Despite Sestria banging in a load of goals yesterday, they couldn't catch Newcastle, and the ladies are now promoted and into the next league, onwards and upwards towards the Women's Super League, which I'm sure is the goal for all with Newcastle United. And if you just bear with me, I'm taking this hoodie off because I am roasting. I'll be 2 seconds.
Can I just mention that the commentary from Sky Sports didn't mention... They mentioned the ladies' game and the women's teams, but they made no reference to the fact that our ladies' team had been promoted. Didn't do their homework. Again, not good enough as a commentary team. Gary Neville, part of the commentary team, was bizarre. Was wearing an Arsenal shirt, I'm pretty sure, under his jacket for most of that game. But to talk about the women's game and not reference our promotion when it was our men's team playing, it was weird. Poor from them. Poor from the commentators.
Well, did you expect anything less from them? I mean, honestly...
Well, I expect them to do their job.
Yeah,
I'm going to give a Roy Keane. It's their damn job. They should just do their job, you know. All you need to do is just sort of have a little Google on the morning of everything to do with both clubs. What's going on at the moment, just so you're up to date, ready to do your commentary. They've not even done that. That's the bare minimum, surely. Yeah,
it was poor. I Like Coffee says, I love the pre-match and post-match vlogs that Paul does. Adam getting swarmed at the end was hilarious. Yeah, some very, very drunken ladies came up at the end of that interview. But listen, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future with them because, quite frankly, they take a lot of work to do and a lot of editing, and I'm not getting the views on them, to be honest. We've got like 2,000 views on the Matchday vlog. So I don't know whether to continue that or not, or whether to try and do something different. If you've got any ideas in the chat as to what you'd like to see on a match day, let me know, because when I'm not getting the views, and doing all that at the match and then coming home and editing and uploading and all that kind of thing, it takes a lot of time. And when you don't get the views, you kind of think, well, is it actually worth it? And is this what people want to actually see on the channel? Because I know Alex pointed out before the show, there is a lot of other channels do it as well. So is it a case of there's just too many people doing the same thing and the interest isn't there? Or maybe try something different with sort of match day experience? What would you like to see? You can't film in the ground, or you can't film the match. Even though I watched John Sinclair yesterday, and literally every time I looked up, he was on his phone. I can't see the enjoyment out of watching a game like that. I know he's like doing vlogs now where he films the fans' reactions and things like that, which is, to cheering goals and things like that, which is fair enough. It's a match day experience. I don't want to do that because I don't want to be stuck on my phone or the GoPro for the whole game. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do. Whether it's just that there's too many people doing it now, or there's not the interest there. But if you want to see something on match day that other people don't do, that you'd be interested in me trying to do, then by all means put it in the chat and we'll see what we can do. But it's nah. Adam needs to be careful. Nearly got battered by an Arsenal fan. Yeah, I spoke to Adam yesterday. Look, Adam's got a very strange way of doing things. He goes in to weird situations. He did it with the Everton fans, but that's the way Adam likes to film. And, to be fair, I mean, he wasn't doing anything wrong with the Arsenal fan. To be honest, most of them were nice with him. And Eddie was in there as well at some stage yesterday, and they were fine with Eddie. I'm not happy at the state that left the pub in. I mean, I don't know whether you guys saw it on social media, the disgraceful rubbish and bottles and everything that they just left all over the floor outside was horrendous. It really was. It looked like a skip. So those Arsenal fans that did that, you need to hang your heads in shame, guys, because that was ridiculous. But people will do what they will to do videos, but I don't know. He's done it all season, to be honest. Jay Devlin says on the plus side, there'll be knee midfield against Leeds. Get ready for the blitz. You're guaranteed that Friday, Billy, Big Sam will want one over us. So we've got to prepare properly for that. But obviously, we'll talk about that more in the preview. But we have to get it right for Friday, don't we? Saturday lunchtime, because lunchtime kickoffs ain't a favourite of Newcastle United this season.
I think the blueprint's there for that. Sam Allardyce to see, though. He'll know how to beat Newcastle because Aston Villa did it. To a lesser extent, possibly Arsenal did it. It's all about work rate and energy. And if you can outwork that energy us in the middle of the park, then they've got a chance of beating us. And I do worry if Longstaff isn't playing. I really do.
I'm not sure Leeds have got the players, to be honest, but
they've got the energy.
I mean, look, they've got the energy, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know.
Bamford up front.
They've got the pace.
Yeah, Bamford up front is well. I mean,
I'm more worried about Gononto, to be honest.
Ganon, whoever his name is, yeah. Joe Linton, thank you for your £2 super chat. We better beat Leeds. They are pish. I haven't heard that word for a long time. Pish.
I mean, they're not, are they?
They're not.
Look what Everton did today. This is a Premier League. Anybody can, we've all got reasonably good quality players, and if anybody has a good day, they've got a good day. It doesn't, anybody can beat anybody.
They put up a very good fight against City, so
they did. Drew said thought they were decent, just unlucky. 1 or 2 extra bodies in this summer, and next season is going to be even more amazing.
Hopefully more than 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think 4 or 5 might be more to the point than 2 or 3. But again, I mean, it depends, Alex, what competition we're in, doesn't it, as to the standard of player that we're going to bring through the door, because they will have a Champions League list, obviously, and they will have a sort of Europa League list, won't they? They'll know who they want to target.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that they can't go for the same player depending on what European league they're in, but there is some players that
I'm not sure there'll be a list for either. I think it might make a difference in how much we can bid or whether we go for an additional one. It's going to be a tricky one because we've still got the quotas to reach. For homegrown trained at the club is a real thing. Obviously, there are a bunch of just standard homegrown ones, which is fine. Players like Gordon fit that, but then the ones trained in club, that's why we probably can't let Paul Dummett go. This is probably why Eddie Howe was talking about that specifically the other day, because he's trained at club. There's other options around taking like Fraser Forster back. Or
can
things
anyone
like that.
remember the last time Dummett actually was on the field for us?
Tranmere.
Was it Tranmere?
Probably
Tranmere.
Yeah.
He had an absolute mare. He got split apart.
Yeah. Tranmere centre half.
Wow.
But yeah, in terms of who we would bring in, depending on what competition we're on, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. I think we could probably have an additional player if we're in the Champions League. We'll probably get an extra player. And it will obviously make negotiations a little bit easier for in the Champions League. So, because against teams like Chelsea and Liverpool, if they're trying to negotiate for these top players, we don't want Liverpool to get in. And I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I'd prefer Liverpool to get in over Man United." I don't want that because Liverpool need a new midfield rebuild.
Yeah.
They need quite a lot of a rebuild. So we don't want to be. If we're in a better competition than them, then we technically have because they're a more historical club with more recent trophies, but we're in the Champions League and they're not. Like that gives us a bit more negotiating power, so that's really important.
Julie J says, "I was annoyed with Fabian Schär, but it happens to the best of defenders." Why were you annoyed with Fabian?
No, it wasn't his fault at all.
The own goal certainly wasn't his fault. I'm not sure where Trippier was, and Botman seemed to stand off Martinelli far too long before going in to make a challenge. He's
very patient.
Strange goal.
He does always do that. Botman is always because obviously once you commit, if you miss, that's it. They're gone. So Botman's really patient with that.
But I think his patience,
especially against Martinelli,
he was too patient yesterday. I think, and I mean Fabian Schär couldn't do anything. If Martinelli did the right thing, he just drilled it as hard as he could across the goal and. Luckily got the
Schär didn't get anything on it, and if Schär didn't get anything on it, Ødegaard was back post with a tap in, so it was pretty much a goal either way.
We'd be angry if he didn't go for it.
Well, exactly. If he didn't go for it and it went to Ødegaard, we'd say, why didn't Schär try and get the ball?
Exactly.
It was unlucky. It wasn't anything bad that we did or great that Arsenal did. Look, it was a lucky goal because it bounced off.
That's football.
I'm not sure where Trippier was. Like Billy said earlier, I don't know what happened there. He pushed too far forward and got caught out. I guess it just
that's
one
the
of those
risk.
things.
That's the risk going all out attack because you're left vulnerable at the back.
Yeah, Seattle Geordie, I did see your super chat, so I'll come. I know it's gone off the screen now, but I'll see it further down in the chat and read the comment out, matey. Sophia says, I watched the game in a bar full of Arsenal fans. My mum is a bad loser, but even she was quiet yesterday. Lunchtime kickoff, Paul. Dinner time up here, man. Dinner time? Lunchtime is... I'm not even getting into that conversation. Not a chance. Ian says, yeah, Ramsdale had a great game apart from acting like a tart with Miggy. That was pathetic, by the way. Out of all of the diving that went on yesterday, that one with Miggy was absolutely laughable. It really was. Reece says, I don't think you can give man of the match to someone who tried to start on some of our players. Well, yeah, but we've given...
Yeah,
we've given Cher some really good scores, and he's Cher did the same again yesterday. There was a couple of times where Trippier was in a bit of bother, and Cher just comes in. He just doesn't give a shit. He'll just go for anybody, and to get players away from his captain. And he did it again yesterday. But look how many times we've given him fantastic ratings, and he's tried to. Well, I'm not saying he's tried to start fights, but he's defended his own team. And I think that's all that happened yesterday. But I agree with what Alex said yesterday at halftime. That was because of the referee. And the referee didn't, because of his absolute pathetic way of refereeing that game where he had no authority on the players, it just got out of hand. Because the players thought, right, we're not going to get done for this or that. We can get away with anything. And that's the kind of mindset that you set by poor refereeing with no authority. And that's exactly what happened.
Within 5 minutes yesterday, Gabriel got in Joe Linton's ear after a free kick. And look, and Joe Linton did lose it for a second or two. And the big melee broke out. Referee didn't get involved. And at the end of it, Gabriel and Joe Linton made up. A couple of minutes later, the same thing happened at the other end where Wilson got into Xhaka's ear. Xhaka weren't getting calmed down for nobody. And why the referee didn't step in there, I really don't know.
I mean, to be honest, I think there was one tackle, I think it was in the first half, where Fabian Schär literally, he was very late on Xhaka. And I think he realised, obviously his Swiss teammate and things like that, and they're obviously friends. He made sure that Xhaka was all right before he sort of left the scene. I just think a couple of yellow cards early doors could have set the tone for the referee, and it could have been a lot easier for the referee to actually officiate the game. But because he let so much go and he didn't have any authority on either side, it was just pathetic from the off. Abu says, I'm sorry, Alex, you're wrong on this. Wilson and Isak should not start together.
Whoa. Did I say that they should? Where did I say that? What on earth? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Pre-match, we said that it would be really interesting, but potentially dangerous against a team like Arsenal because we're putting so much attacking emphasis on the pitch. It might have a negative influence on the balance. You can't just skip all of that. I didn't not say that. Take it back. It's bullshit. What's wrong with people today?
Alex, I do think you've been on the raw meat over the weekend, though. I do.
I don't like being misquoted. You can literally go back to the preview show and see me saying it would be really cool to see Isak starting on the left again, but it is dangerous and has its drawbacks.
Did Alex predict them both to start?
Well,
I generally didn't.
I did predict them to start, yeah, and they started.
Yeah, look, there was a lot of people outside the ground yesterday when the teams were announced who were really happy about it. But they were also apprehensive about it because it kind of took away the impact that we'd have on the bench.
Although, to be fair, we haven't mentioned this yet, Isak was not bad defensively. For a striker, his tackles are really clean. He times them well. He doesn't give away cheap free kicks. It's, again, another quite a unique trait that you don't see in a striker very often. He wasn't too bad defensively at all.
No, he wasn't. And he did, if he lost the ball a couple of times as well, he'd go sprinting back to win it back. And most of the time, he actually did win it back. So, I'm not... Michael B says, why are we so bad at set pieces? Have we scored from one this season? Well, apart from last week. Well, yes, we did, because Wilson scored against Man United from one. should we take a look at the latest scores on the poll, Alex?
Sure.
Okay. Right. The question, of course, was, did we create enough chances from corners against Arsenal? So far, after 363 votes, yes, 37%, no, 63.
How can so many of you be wrong? That's amazing.
There is a massive swing who are right. It's unbelievable.
Just got high expectations, guys.
Well, maybe so.
We're never going to be scoring 1 in 5 corners. It's not
how
it works.
We'll leave that. We'll leave that up and running. We'll leave that up and running because it may change throughout the show. You never know. But it is time now to move on to the player ratings, guys, because obviously we're in now, and I know how Jack and Alex like to discuss why they've given their scores, and it tends to go on for a while. But we don't mind that because it's very full description. And Clark Kent makes a good point, by the way. Laura Woods, I was disappointed with this morning, calling out Eddie Howe, because obviously Eddie was complaining about Arsenal's time wasting, and she was making a point of pot kettle black kind of thing after what we did at the Emirates.
Yeah, but we've still allowed. Well, yeah, but they moaned about it, so we moan about it. Now it's even. Yeah. That's fine.
You'd think, but of course it doesn't work that way in football worlds, does it? Joe Linton, thank you for another £2. He says, can we buy Brentford's set-piece coach?
Yes, please.
I mean, Alex, to be fair, you did make a point of that quite a way back during the season, saying that you'd love to see a proper set-piece coach come in.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you should say that. Obviously, Tifo did a big video on Brentford set pieces and how they're one of the best set piece teams in Europe at the moment. They are amazing at set pieces. And I can't remember which game it was. Somebody might remember. We tried a couple of Brentford corners in the same way that Brentford do it, and I noticed that in the post-match. So we are trying. It's just not working. The coaching staff are trying. Like I would like to see some additional set-piece coaches come in, or one. Yeah. Everybody's got them nowadays. Liverpool with the funny throw-in coach. I just feel like we could do with another first-team coach who's got that experience. Because we need. Judging from a few people's reports today, obviously we got a big thread through from Kev on Twitter today about transfers and everything. A lot of suggestions that we're going to continue bringing in big players, like tall, aggressive, physical. And if we are going to go down that route, we need to start capitalizing on the fact we're a big team, especially next season against like European teams and everything. We just need to make it count.
World of Football, thank you for your £5 super chat. It says, as a Liverpool fan, I really want to see you guys get top 4. I personally think our 6-game winning run has started too late. We won't get top 4. Good luck. Finally, a Liverpool fan with sense. What did you make of their national anthem, Malarkey Jack?
It's great. I don't know what Everton fans did it again today at Brighton, just singing their shitey little chants over the national anthem. I don't know what Scousers have got over the national anthem. I'm not too sure, but it's a bit weird. But they are Scousers, aren't they? So I think it's a bit of rooty national anthem there, a bit rooty country. So
I mean, look, for me, I don't mind if they don't sing the national anthem, but to boo it. And I think a lot of the military and stuff like that have been making comments on social media over the weekend saying that they're not necessarily agree with the Royals and things like that, but it's the country's national anthem. It's what they stand for. It stands for the men standing with them in battle and things like that. And that's what the national anthem's all about, not just about if you support the king. It's the country's national anthem.
Yeah, they're taking it out of context. They're taking it as the song of the monarchy, and it's not. It's just the British song. And it's to honour, the military, the deceased. It's to honour everything. It's not, about being British. It just, every other country's national anthem is just a random anthem. Just because ours happens to talk about the monarchy doesn't mean it's,
I mean, look, ours is a bit boring though, isn't it? It is a bit boring when you look at some of the other national anthems that are really upbeat and stuff like that. But look,
that's national anthem, Paul.
I'm all right. America and France can keep their. Well, sorry, Jimmy.
I actually like the French one. The French and the Italian one for me are really woof, get up there, come on. The Americans is just false.
Listen, but, I couldn't disagree more with their stance on the national anthem. However, I will defend their right to boo it as much as they want.
Fair enough. That's your opinion as well, Billy. And you know,
but then they want to go and represent this country in the Champions League.
Yeah,
they don't
and they
think
did.
they are, do they? They don't think they are. They think they're representing themselves. So.
Why have the fans turned on Jordan Henderson because it was his choice to sing it? They've turned on him. I think that's disgraceful.
Well, how many caps has he got? I mean, he's from Sunderland. He's not from, the northeast generally.
Well, yeah, he's not even from England, is he? He's from Sunderland, and he sings the national anthem. I mean, it's incredible.
He's had so many caps. He's gone through so much with the England team.
Yeah,
he can do what he wants.
Alex, just before we do the play rating, so just going to go through a few comments that were made during our little debate. As everybody knows, it's debate, and that's all it is. There's no fallings out. It's just a difference of opinion, and people like that because we're not just going to say, "Oh, yes, we agree with everything each other says." Look what Billy's just said about the national anthem. He's wrong, but you know what? It's his opinion.
Listen, I'm just saying, I disagree with them doing it, but I will defend their right to do that because we live in a free country.
Exactly. No, I agree with
that.
Yeah,
absolutely. By the way, it was sang absolutely magnificently in St. James's Park yesterday, just to throw that one in as well. Johnny Boy says, I'm with Paul. Trips takes the corners, and I wait for it to sail over everyone. Billy says, I'm with Paul on this one. Then Ash says, you were chatting crap, Paul. Irani Granny, funny enough, says I'm chatting shit, but she'd say that even if I was right anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anthony says, you bang on, mate. James says, our set piece was terrible. Tom says, agree, Paul. I was right by where that corner was taken. It was poor. Keith says, I'm with you, Paul. The service trips is given is shocking.
That wasn't the question, though. I agree with that. I agree that Trips' service is poor. I agree that Trips' service is poor, but that's not the point.
It's gone, right? I'm just reading people's comments.
With the set piece chances, which did exist. I completely agree that Trips has been poor.
Ash says, I disagree. Trippier was decent crossing yesterday.
All right, well, at least we found the one guy we disagree
Andrew
with.
says, our set pieces are pathetic. How, Alex, you bang on, says Anthony. Well, he's just said I was bang on, and then he says you bang on 2 seconds later. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what planet Anthony's on tonight. Clarky says, agreed with Paul. Set pieces aren't good enough. Dean, Alex, arrogant as per usual. Only his opinion is correct. Listen, Alex is not arrogant, right? I will back Alex up. He's not arrogant. He's one of the best people anybody could ever meet. But we're not going to agree on everything, right? And that's the whole point of these shows. We're not just going to sit here and agree with each other all the time. If you did, other channels do that. We don't. And we'll have heat. It will get a bit heated, but that's what it's all about. It's not to say we're all going to fall out, though. I still love Alex like a brother.
Theoretically, right, that share header doesn't go in because Ramsdale had a good save. There was nothing wrong with the set piece. It was a good save. Right, so let's say that goes in because Ramsdale doesn't make a great save. The set piece is the same. Nothing's changed. It was the goalkeeper's difference. And then we get given that penalty. And we score 2 goals. So all of a sudden we're sat here saying, okay, so the set pieces, the delivery is no different. There's nothing been changed. It's purely a VAR decision and a goalkeeping save. It's fine margins.
Oh my God!
Fine margins, and it would have been the same.
Very fine margins. Yeah, clearly. Julie J says Trippier delivers good corners. Our players cannot get on the end of them.
9-4.
I think it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of Trippiers have been inconsistent, and also our tall players aren't doing the job.
Our tall players.
Well, we got a lot of them.
Yeah. Anyway, right, we'll move on now to we'll get a latest on the poll and then we'll start the play ratings. It still stands at exactly the same. We're over 400 votes now, so the scores haven't changed. So most people obviously are correct. Anyway, Rachel says, Alex is an amazing lad. He most definitely isn't arrogant. He defended me on Twitter the other day. He's bloody brilliant. He is bloody brilliant. There's nothing wrong with 2 people disagreeing about something, It doesn't mean you have to have a fight and fall out. It just, I know that's how some people work, but we don't. 2-3, 3-2?
3-2.
Yeah, Lianco with a corner header.
Bloody hell. Right. Okay.
Goals today, Jesus.
I know, crazy. Right, let's start off with Nick Pope. And Jack, we'll start with you on Popey.
I think Nick Pope. I mean, that one where he's trying to clear the ball and it just skimmed off Saka. It gave me another heart. It gave me another. It gave me another heart attack. Honestly, Nick Pope is so sketchy with his feet, but his shot stopping was sensational yesterday. I thought. I mean, that Odegaard one just near half time. I think he made some great saves. And if it weren't for Nick Pope, Arsenal may have got 5. I'm gonna give Nick Pope an 8.
Okay, Alex.
I'm gonna give him a 9. I agree that he possibly could have done better with the goal, and that funny kick where it, just shaved past Saka was a bit terrifying. But he's the only reason we were still in that game. He was absolutely sensational. 5 saves from inside the box. That's a lot. That's a lot of saves at point blank.
That one from Odegaard before half time was absolutely sensational. The reflex on him they did to save that was incredible.
I'll dock him from a 10 down to a 9 because of could have done better with the goal. Kick was a bit dodgy. Yeah, give him a 9.
Geordie's given him a 6, saying first goal a shocker. I don't care what anybody says. He didn't see it.
You can't judge him on the one goal for a whole 90 minutes.
I mean, it was.
But that's fair to add that in as a criteria. But then you're not going to score him any more points for all the good saves he made. Like, you've got to factor them in as well, surely.
Yeah. I'm giving him a 9 as well. I thought some of the saves he pulled off were sensational, and some of them. I mean, he knew that he had to go with his legs with some of them. Sometimes he just had to just be a brick wall and it bounced off him. But the save from Odegaard before half time, I mean, if that had gone in, that would have killed the game. It would have killed the game completely because it would have knocked our confidence for 6-1, going in 2-0 down rather than 1-0. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, his actual goalkeeping, shot stopping is as good as anyone's in the league. And for that reason, I'm going to give him a 9. I think he could have done a little bit better with the goal. I know he didn't see it, but it didn't go in the corner. And he could have predicted which way he was going. He was just a bit late to it. But, on the whole, I thought his shot stop was superb. Again, his kicking was a bit dodgy. Sometimes his handling was as well. There was one occasion where I had a into his hands and he kind of smoothed out for a corner. But, 9 out of
10. Julie J said he should have stopped Cher's own goal.
It's from about 10 centimetres, mate.
Julie, that's harsh. Christ.
Like 1 yard in front of him.
It would have had to be Superman to stop that one going in. I mean, Jesus, it went off Cher like a bullet. Well, listen, if he'd have saved that, he would have been. I mean,
it's not that far away.
Julie, I think you've been very harsh. But listen, your opinion. Right, Kieran Trippier, Billy.
I think it's a bit naive, strange enough, for 33-year-old England international yesterday. I think he got caught up in the emotion of the game and got caught up the pitch too much. I thought Martinelli kind of dominated him at times. However, I don't. He did get us moving. He was passionate as always. I'll just give him a 7, I think.
Okay. I'm giving him a 6. I don't think he played very well yesterday. I thought his corners and set pieces were shite. However, he does still try and lead by example, even when he's not playing very well. But he did get caught out a lot of times yesterday. So a 6 for me. Alex?
I'll give him a 7, but
okay,
same reasons. I thought he got caught out too often. 4 key passes, though. He was the first player in Europe to reach 100 key passes this season, and then followed by Bruno Fernandes. Unfortunately, the next game after, but that's a great accolade. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a 7. I thought he had an okay game.
Cool. Jack?
I'm giving him a 7 as well. I thought he was very passionate, like Billy said. I think he did get caught out many times from Martinelli, and that kind of led to the second goal. But I think he was very physical in tackles. I thought he was shoving off defenders very, very well and got moving up the pitch and influenced attacks. So I'll give him a 7.
Interesting. Mal the Grinch is, I agree with Paul 100%. I really like Alex, but talking crap tonight. Oh, dear me. Honestly, listen, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters when I give the final poll results, but it doesn't matter right now. I'm only joking, Alex. Right, we'll move on to the left-hand side. Dan Byrne, we'll start with you, Alex.
Oh, this is a real tough one. I'm going to give him a 7, but I thought he was awful at certain things and really great at other things. I thought he understood what needed to happen with Saka, and he needed to be so focused. Early runs back, recovery runs, and he did that brilliantly. But on the flip side, 50% pass accuracy. I think this game was at a technical level above what his skill set can offer. I think it's clear to see.
Yep.
He still did great with the skills that he's got, but one run forward and a little pass that he dotted through. I'll give him that. That was really tidy, but I just think we need a bit more balance. And again, him being so tall prevented him being out in the left back position for that Odegaard goal. If somebody had been pressing out, it never would have come back to it. It potentially couldn't have gone there anyway. So it's a funny one. It's because he didn't really do anything wrong, but 7.
I'm gonna give him a 6 for the same reasons you, Alex. To be honest, but I just think if I'm giving Trippier a 6, Burn for me didn't stand out much more than Trippier. To be honest, like you said,
yeah, but Saka was quiet, like you said earlier as well.
Well, Saka,
who made that happen?
But if Saka stood up a lot more, there was at least 3 times I counted that he beat Dan Burn and then decided to go down. Had he stayed on his feet, he was away. But that's Saka's fault. At the end of the day, Billy.
Yeah, I thought defensively he was solid enough. I just think he didn't contribute anything really, in an offensive point of view, which is always the case with Dan Burn. Yeah. So I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay, Jack.
I'll give him a 6. He did have to be very careful with late runs back with Saka because Saka would dominate him in a foot race. But I think he dealt much better with Saka than Trippier with Martinelli. And I did think Saka was very, very, very quick. I didn't even see a good run from Saka, if I'm being honest. And that just shows how well Dan Burn dealt with Saka. So I'll give him a 6.
Okay. Right, we'll move into the centre-backs now. And we'll start with Fabian Schär. And I'm going to give Fabian Schär an 8. I thought again he was very solid yesterday. He is, I think, because of the way Botman's played so well throughout the season. I think that sometimes what Schär does gets forgotten about. And he went forward a couple of times yesterday. He should have scored from the header, definitely. But he did have a volley later on in the game. But I thought he defended really well. I wasn't worried about anybody running in on him and things like that. I thought he had a good game, so I'm going with an 8.
That was a left-footed volley as well, by the way.
It was a left-footed volley, and it wasn't that far away, by the way.
If he went forward a little bit more.
Yeah, just try to keep the ball down a bit more, yeah. Jack?
I think he was very solid defensively yesterday. I think he was very. I didn't see a lot of good passes from him, but he's a defender. He's not a Kevin De Bruyne passer. He's a defender. He's paid to defend. And I think he was unlucky with that header. He couldn't really do a lot with it from that close to Ramsdale. Got unlucky with that one. I think it was defensively solid. It gave Jesus a good tackle. And he's so good with defending his teammates. He's definitely. I think if he was a little bit younger or a lot younger, he would be a future captain at this club. I'll give him an 8.
Okay, Alex.
I'm going to give him a 7, which I feel like is a bit harsh. But so yeah, header, volley, aggression, awesome. That gives him a bunch of bonus points. But then I'm going to give him a 7 because he got 1 out of 9 long passes.
Actually, his passing was poor yesterday at times.
That's why I can't give him more than a 7 because I just thought he was a bit off his game in distribution and trying to get us into. And that was partly one of the reasons why Wilson struggled. He could have done with slightly better long service because normally we get good sort of pings from the centre halves. But yeah, it keeps as high as a 7 because he did really well creating his own chances. So,
Billy?
Yeah, I thought 7's fair for him. The passing again wasn't great yesterday, but that's it's not always the case. Rarely the case, in fact. But I think a lot of that's down to the fact the mobility in front of him wasn't great with the midfielders coming short for the ball and without being pressed, because the midfield were at all times and he was having to go long most of the time. All in all, I thought he defended pretty well, so I'll give him a 7.
I mean, we were quite slow at bringing the ball out yesterday. I thought we weren't as quick as we normally are. Julie, I don't know what's happened to you tonight. I'm a bit worried about you, to be honest. She says she's given Schär a 5. You can't be putting the ball in the wrong net. Not the first defender to make a mistake, but it killed the game off for us.
Julie, come on.
Yeah, but you would have crucified him if he didn't try and hit that.
I mean, he didn't stand a chance. It was rifled in by Martinelli in the first place.
He puts
Julie...
his foot forwards and the ball goes sideways. It's just unfortunate. It's one of those things.
I would
have
preferred Cher to be in the role that Botman was in and actually go with Martinelli. For some reason, that wasn't the case, but I think we'd have probably got away with it more if Cher had been on Martinelli. Yeah.
She says she's fine. She's just so mad. Yep. Well, it's your opinion, Julie, of course, and you are very welcome to it. Right, Sven Botman, Jack.
I don't think he stood out as much as Cher did, but I'll give Botman a 7. I thought I didn't see a lot from Botman yesterday, enough to say enough on him as well as I did with Cher, but I didn't think it was as much as outstanding as Cher was. He was very cautious with Martinelli with that when he ran through, but I agree. You have to be cautious. Martinelli's a very fast and he's good. He's got some good agility, Martinelli, and you got to be very careful. Stick a foot out, Martinelli will try and use that to get a penalty. So you got to be very careful. But Botman, he's not known for his massive. He's not as fast as Martinelli, is he? But I don't think he stood out as much as Cher did. So I'll give him a 7.
I'm going with a 6 for Botman. I wasn't that impressed with Sven Botman yesterday. I have to be honest. I know there's a lot of 6 and 7s in the chat as well. I think he should have done much better for Martinelli for the second goal. He just seemed to back off, and Martinelli just kept going. He didn't even have to take Botman on in the end of the day. Just slammed the ball across the goal, and we know what happened after that. I just don't think he was his normal Rolls Royce self yesterday. But again, this is my opinion. Alex, I know you're going to disagree with me,
you were watching a different game, both of you. I only give him a 9. I thought he was outstanding. Wow. I think he won every single duel, 5 out of 5 ground duels, 4 out of 4 aerial duels. He drew a couple of fouls. His passing was 89%. He had a shot that was quite tidy. He managed to get a cross in from the right wing. As you pointed out, rightly so, he's a left-sided centre-back. He got caught backpedaling on the right side. It's this wrong body shape. He was taught. He's always taught to be patient. Didn't commit to the tackle. It's just one of those things. We've had so many situations in the last sort of month where Botman and Cher have been patient, and we've applauded them for it. And it's one of those situations yesterday where it didn't work. I thought he was exceptional. I thought he was fine. He didn't make any mistakes. I thought he tried to keep it alive without committing to a challenge, getting people back into position. It was just one of those things. He was the wrong side. Martinelli is one of the best left-sided players in world football at the moment. He's probably in the top 20 for left-sided players. It's always going to be difficult.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Alex, that the whole of the chat is disagreeing with you. But hey, opinions are what they are.
100% duels, 89% pass accuracy. I thought he was solid.
Okay. Billy?
I thought he looked more panicked than usual yesterday. I didn't think he looked his usual calm self, if I'm perfectly honest. I think Jesus and his movement confused him at times. Whether them stats kind of disprove that, I don't know, but I'm going to give him a 6.
Okay, no problem. Julie J says she loves the free speech here at the Toon Review. Jack, have you given him a score?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Doug from the Dugout channel says, good evening, guys. Thank you for your $5, Doug. Good evening, guys. I do not think this result changes in you getting top 4 or not. Win the next 2 and you have it, in my opinion, between us and Man United for 4th. I'm actually appearing on Jack's channel tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the Premier League prediction show that he does. So looking forward to that. Right, we'll move to Bruno now. Billy.
Yeah, definitely his worst game in a Newcastle shirt. Just lacks mobility at the minute. I think it's the ankle. I've got no doubt it's the ankle. He's hamstrung with the fact he hasn't got Longstaff next to him also. His passing was a bit off. He was hanging on the ball a bit long yesterday.
Yeah.
And they targeted him. There's no doubt about it. They targeted him. And he never had a minute's piece. I want to give him a 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm giving him a 5 as well. He wasn't himself yesterday. He tried to hang on to the ball too long in defensive situations, which worried me. He got a few free kicks when he went down, but he also lost the ball in very dangerous positions yesterday, which is, normally he's very good at holding onto the ball in those sort of instances, but I'm with you, Billy. I think his ankle is causing him a lot more problems than what is being made out, and I think that will be confirmed by everybody in the summer. Alex?
Similar reasons to you guys, but I'm going to give him a 6. I thought it wasn't awful. I think it was probably his worst game in a black and white shirt, but still worthy of a 6. 34 out of 38 passes, 89% pass accuracy. Fair enough. A couple of them were a bit sloppy.
Yeah.
A lot of fouls. He drew a lot of fouls, gave away a lot of fouls. 6 1 half a dozen the other really for him. But again, if it wasn't awful, like for his worst game for us, it was still fine. Like if that's his worst performance, I'm all right with that. Like
cool.
There are people who can be a lot worse.
Yes, Jack.
He wasn't up to Bruno's standard yesterday. Of course, he's a quality player, and he can't perform like he does every single week because you'd not be human if you didn't perform every single week. But it definitely was one of his off days. Every time he got the ball, took a touch, instantly closed down, ball took off him. Then Arsenal started the counter attack. He wasn't up to his usual standards. Get back into training, have a good week of training. I know he's got an ankle injury, which can. He can have a little excuse for, but get back into training. Good full week of training, and get ready for Leeds. So I think I may be a bit. I don't know if I'm being a bit harsh, but I'll give him a 5.
Okay.
If he's got a dodgy ankle, there's no way he'll be doing any training. I don't think he'll train at all.
I think they might just watch him this week and just maybe
steady pace.
Yeah, cotton wool kind of thing. Right, Joe Linton. Now, Alex, we'll start with you on Big Joe.
That's a tough one. I'll give him a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a tough role for him again because obviously we are forcing him to play everywhere in the universe at the moment positionally. He must be getting a bit of whiplash with the amount of instructional and tactical, just everything. He's got to do everything. So with Isak playing left wing, he had a very different role. He floated right side a few times, and we know he really is not a right-sided player. He much prefers being on that left. A couple of little mistakes in the 6 role as well, which were a bit dangerous. I say mistake. It was they both challenged for the ball, and he just didn't win it. It's not really a mistake. He just needs to be a bit more careful in those sorts of situations, which is why he's not. Everybody's saying, he needs to be the starting DM. That's why he's not. He's a forward. He is a forward. He always will be a forward. He can just play midfield really well because he's a tank.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6.
Julie Jace is asking for a friend. What is the difference between dark arts and game management? We are not even going to go there because that's a separate show on its own altogether. Billy, Joe Linton.
I thought it was pretty anonymous. I kind of think the game passed him by. I think they managed him pretty well. Arsenal 6 for me.
Okay, Jack.
I think he's been a bit iffy in the past 2 games. The Southampton one, he was quite iffy, very sloppy. This game, unnoticeable. Wasn't the J7 we know and love. I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I'm going with the 6 as well for exactly the same reasons. He just does not suit playing where he played yesterday.
But again, how much of that is his fault though? He is.
Well, it's not. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Not at all. But we can only rate him on what he did.
If we go and put Bruno on the left wing, I'm sure he'd struggle.
Yes, definitely. Right, Joe Willock, Billy.
Probably our biggest threat in the middle of the park, but not great. Set up that chance for Jacob Murphy in the 2nd minute. Was really good. Was our most dangerous, without doubt, midfield player. But still, he was pretty wasteful. So I think 6 is right for him as well.
Okay. Jack?
Good drive runs from midfield. I thought, like Billy said, I think he was our most dangerous threat going forward in terms of from midfield. That really early chance where he was driving forward, getting out defenders, getting the crosses in. I thought he was very good at that. But I feel like he wasn't worse than Bruno, but he wasn't the most outstanding player ever. So I think a 6 is a good score for him. Yeah,
I'm going with a 6 as well. There was patches where he looked really good, but then he faded away. And didn't have the impact that normally Joe Willock would have. But again, is that because, Joe Linton was out of position? He combined so well with him. Things were a little crooked on the pitch yesterday. Andrew says, I've been painting with the lights out. I thought I'd try these dark arts for myself. Well, I guarantee it won't have gone well for you. Alex, Joe Willock?
I'm going to give him a 7. I think he deserves a slightly higher score than you guys have given, but I do agree. But he is missing that physicality that is necessary to kind of get by in parts of a game like that, which normally isn't an issue when Longstaff's on the pitch. It's just one of those things. But the first few minutes of the game, the first 5 minutes, he was absolutely outstanding. Like winning the ball back, it went everywhere. He fought to win it again, drove it up the pitch. He is. You can see there that there's definitely an England player in there. Some of his movements. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. If he can add a bit more physicality to what he's got now, nearly as complete as you're going to get for the position he wants to play. He's not far off. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to add it, but he's close.
Right, we'll move to the front three now. We'll start off with Jacob Murphy. I'm giving Murphy a 7. Started the game very brightly, was one of our biggest threats, no doubt, hit the post. I think he sort of fell away as the game went on. But again, I can never ever say anything against his determination, his motivation, everything like that. He's just incredible. So he gets a 7 for me. Jack?
I thought he got the better of Shinchenko yesterday. I think Shinchenko couldn't really cope with him because I think he got the better of him every single time of the match. I think it was definitely one of our bigger threats going forward in terms of getting shots at goal wise. So yeah, I definitely give him a 7.
4-2 Forest.
4-2. Wow. Alex?
Yeah, 7 for the work rate. I think he was unlucky to hit the post. You know, he walked away with nearly 0.5 expected assists as well. He was trying his best. You know, you expect maybe in a game like that he won't have enough quality to, but it was all right, to be fair. We just needed a bit more. I think the Miggy sub was the wrong sub, but we'll get to that, I'm sure.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, we'll look on the other side now. Have we all voted on Murphy? Sorry, Billy, go on.
I agree with 7. I thought he was a real threat, and I don't think we used him enough, to be perfectly frank. I don't think he should have been pulled off when he was. I think he should have had another 10 minutes at Tierney. But virtually straight away, he was pulled off for Miggy. Don't think that was the right choice. I think he was our most dangerous attacking player, to be honest.
Okay. Right. Alexander Isak. Billy, we'll start with you on him.
They definitely doubled up, trebled up on him at times. When he had the ball, he showed flashes. He didn't have the ball enough, in my opinion. I'm not sure he should be playing out there from the start, though. I'll give him a 7 now for what he did do. And he looked good when he went into middle also.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going with a 7 as well. And I mean, there was a couple of flashes yesterday in the first half where I was able to see close ball control, and it was just simply on the touchline. It was incredible. You know, it just absolutely amazing how he can make that ball just stick to his foot.
The amount of times you go, oh, he's lost it. Oh no, he hasn't.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's still got it.
So many times he looked like he lost it, and then he's still in possession. You think,
he had 2
how
plays
the hell
round
has he
him.
done that?
Yeah, 2 plays round him. Ball's going one way, and it instantly comes back to him, and somehow the ball just gets away and gets to another player. It's absurd.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, 7 for the same reasons. He was really, really tidy, tried his best to be creative, but he was caught too deep, which I think was a result of just the game, how it panned out, who we'd got on the pitch. Just one of those things.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, I totally agree. 7. He tried to make things happen, but it just didn't fall for him. And that sums up the game, really. Unlucky.
Yep. Right, Callum Wilson. Alex, we'll start with you for Callum.
I'm going to give him a 4. I thought he was pretty poor. I know we criticised the centre-backs. I mean, I criticised one more than you guys criticised the other one, but a lot of that, Wilson wasn't winning anything physically, just completely off the pace physically. And they're not the biggest centre-halves he's played against this season. They're a lot smaller, to be fair, in a 4-4-2. You know, he won 0 out of 4 ground duels, 1 aerial duel. So he's won 1 out of 6 that entire game. And that is what we expect his game to be a bit more intelligent, physical. Didn't contribute anything in the way of build-up, dropping off. He's hyper-clinical. Yeah, he's 15 goals. He's amazing. But contributing to different parts of the game, I think, is done for him now. I hope he proves me wrong, and I hope he can do other things. But
I
he looked quite
got the
one-dimensional.
feeling with Wilson yesterday that he was just wanting to cause trouble more than he was trying to concentrate on what he was doing with the ball.
He's turning into a proper just poacher.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm going with a 4 as well. I agree with everything you said, Alex. So I had 4 written down. That's exactly the same. Billy?
Yeah, he was totally anonymous, wasn't he? I agree with that. He was trying to get in the Arsenal players' heads, and certainly Xhaka. But I thought Gabriel and Kiwior defended him really, really well and basically made him a non-entity, so 4's fair.
He had a lot of time as well. He played 78 minutes.
Yeah, he did. Jack?
I give him a 4 as well. Totally anonymous. Didn't see him at all. And I'm not going to say he's unlucky because he hardly got any chances and he hardly got involved in the game. So I'll give him a 4.
Okay, right. We move on to the substitutes. Who was the first?
Miggy on 65 for Jacob Murphy.
Go on, Alex.
I think he can have a flat 6. 10 out of 10 passes, but it was the wrong move. Completely the wrong sub. I think we've got to blame Eddie Howe for that. I think with Arsenal's inverted fullbacks and they brought Tierney on as well, completely the wrong substitution. You want, in my opinion, we should have been trying to stretch the pitch, widen the pitch. It could have done with a Gordon on to try and hug the touchline and just try and bomb it, create a bit more space. Whereas obviously, I mean, is that why the second goal happened? Possibly. Was that after the Miggy substitution? I can't remember. But it definitely just didn't feel like the right one. When did the second one go in? Yeah, 71 minutes. So that kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's not really Miggy's fault. He can just do what he's told, which is go on and do your typical Miggy things, which is invert. But it just didn't work tactically at all.
I just don't think Miggy's been. I know he had his golden run, but I don't think
that's not his fault, really. He's come on.
I know he's had injuries and stuff. Yeah.
Who came on for? Did Zinchenko go off? I don't think he did. Did he?
Yeah.
Zinchenko went off.
He was the sub for Tierney. They didn't keep both on. Okay. Yeah, it's just a strange one. I wouldn't bring in an inverted Miggy on to face a fresh Kieran Tierney, who is pretty rapid. Just a weird sub. Sub.
I'm giving him a 6 as well, Billy.
Yeah, it is a weird sub. If he'd have started with Miggy against Zinchenko, he'd have had more joy, and Murphy coming on later to stretch the pitch, or Gordon would have worked for Miggy. Peripheral to the game again. It wasn't his game with Tierney being on. I'm going to give him a 5, actually.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, I'll give him a 6. Bit of a strange one, considering how well Murphy was doing in that game. But I thought Amron, look, when he comes on, we all know what he's going to do, invert on his left-hand side. And you know what? At some stage with Amron, any other day, I mean, that little pretend shoot from his left foot could have went over Ramsdale and got into top left corner. But yeah, we all know what's going to happen with Miggy. Wrong sub. I'll give him a 6.
Okay. Who then came on? Was it?
It was Maxi and Gordon. Both came on at the same time for Willock and Wilson.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give Maxi an 8, and I'm going to give Gordon a 7. I think Maxi looked very alert yesterday. Had a dig. Had a go. And Gordon did some good work defensively as well. He got back and stopped Arsenal's breaking a few times. But again, there's just not really long enough to make an impact for them. Billy?
Maxi was outstanding when he came on. I just thought he came on, stretched the play, took players on, beat players, created stuff. Some of that hadn't been used to for the whole game, really. So Maxi deserves his 8. Gordon got involved in it defensively, got around the pitch nicely. Was very apparent in what he was doing, so I think 7's fair for him as well. Okay,
Jack,
I'm gonna give Maxi an 8, and I'm gonna give Gordon a 7. Maxi, just so refreshing seeing him back on again. Okay,
what was that noise?
I got cramp in my foot.
Your foot made a noise.
I thought it was a sheep. All I heard was bah. That's the strangest noise I've heard for cramp in my life, by the way.
You only get cramp in your foot, you can't do any position without it kind of hurting. I was like, like that. It's gone now.
Jeez. Okay, I'm pleased, Billy.
Maxi, so refreshing. No, Maxi an 8, Gordon a 7. Maxi, it's just refreshing to see him on again, running at defenders, taking them on. Literally, the first minute he was on, got the ball, knew what to do. But he was inside his own half, but he didn't care. He knew what to do. Right at defenders, took him on. I think he took him on successfully. Gordon, look, he came on kind of late to make a big impact in the game, so I thought it was unlucky on Gordon.
I mean, he came on at the same time as Maxi, and you said Maxi made an impact.
I'll give Gordon.
Leave him alone, Alex.
I had to bring that up.
Leave him alone, you brute.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Notice I'm sticking up for you here, Jack. Thank you.
Oh, keep it coming.
Right, Alex.
I'm going to give Gordon a 7. Really interesting seeing him in the midfield. Considering Eddie Howe made a point in an interview of going, no, he plays left wing, right wing, and as a forward, and then put him in as a midfielder. I thought that was quite interesting. So now we know that we can't always listen to his words in press conferences, and he will do other things. So we've seen him in midfield, but he needs to be a bit more. I don't think he's got the brains to play in midfields. The brains to be able to play in midfield. I think physically, he lost 3 out of 3 ground duels, gave away 2 fouls. He needs to be more careful if he's going to play sort of in midfield ever. That was poor, but his pace is always a threat. I'm going to give Maxi a 9 for the same reasons you guys have said. I think that was the closest we probably were to a goal from open play when he was on the pitch. His shot was brilliant. Gave us a corner. Completed all of his dribbles. Was super dangerous. I want to see Maxi left wing with Isak up front. I think those two together, feeding off each other, are just electric. You've got 2 guys who can play in a similar way, and it's frightening when they combine. And I want to see them against Leeds.
Yep. Now the other 2, they weren't on the field very long. Was Matt Targett and Elliot Anderson. I thought Anderson looked quite lively actually when he came on,
and aggressive,
and theatrical.
My TV's just gone off, guys, so I cannot see anything right now. What the hell?
Don't worry.
Well,
Alex, stop flagging Paul.
No, I'm back. My TV decided to just turn off. It must be one of those automatic standby things. Right, we'll move on to the manager, Eddie Howe. Billy.
Yeah, I know he's hamstrung with his selection, but I just don't think Isak on the left and for the middle was the way to go. I've been saying it all along. I think it leaves us nowhere to go when we're behind. And once we got behind, we had nowhere to go. The substitution of Miggy wasn't great either. I would give him a 6.
Wow. Alex?
I'm only give him a 7. But I agree that the Miggy sub was wrong tactically. I like that he's tried Isak left, and I don't think that's the reason we lost. The goals came from the other side really. Yeah, it was burnt. Well, I say that is Isak's side, but you can't expect Isak to be there. In the way that, it didn't work like that. All right, I'll give him a 7. I'm just waffling now. It was all right. Poor subs.
I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7. Couldn't fault him for the starting lineup. I thought he was correct picking that lineup. I mean, I predicted it, so I can't say he was wrong for picking it. So I think the lineup was okay. The sub for Miggy wasn't right, but I'll give him a 7.
Yeah.
Well, can I just point out one thing that with these lineups, it does seem like, I mean, maybe it's just me, but like these lineups that we complain about normally get us the wins, and whenever we see a lineup where we go, oh yeah, we want to see that, we lose. So I feel like we should just shut up and let him do his job.
Yeah. Look, I'm giving him a 7 as well. You're all basically correct on what you said about Eddie Howe. So, but it is what it is, guys. Right. Listen, we'll do the poll results. I bet you're excited to hear these, Alex. Okay, we've had nearly 500 votes on this. And the question that we put to you guys was, did we create enough chances from corners against Arsenal? The results are the yeses, 37%, the no's, 63%. So thank you, everybody, for proving me right. I love yous all.
Doesn't mean it's right.
No, it's everyone's opinion, of course. But we do have someone that wants to cheer you up, guys. So get those emojis going. So there you go. Daisy's still...
Did she flip the bike track around so she's going around a different corner now?
Well, no. But listen, more to come on Daisy. Daisy's gonna be a big part of our outro for live shows. When we finish the show, she is going to be a huge part of that. Susan almost has it finished, but it's basically based on Daisy, our mascot. So there you go. As usual, loads of emojis coming in for Daisy the cow. By the way, where was that comment? I just need to go and find that comment. NUFC Ollie says that there's more poll votes than likes on the video. Yes. Guys, please, just before we finish now, just take 1 second out of your evening just to hit the thumbs up button, please. In fact, we'll do a countdown and then just hit the thumbs up. 3, 2, 1. Hit that thumbs up, guys. Get our likes up because it really does help the channel more than I think you realize. We need we need to get those likes up, guys. But there we go. That is it for the review. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been very debatable, topical. What's the word? Topical. Very strong, opinionated show, which is what we like to bring you on the Toon Review. So there you go. Everybody's opinion counts, right? Whether we agree with it or not, everybody has an opinion and they're entitled to it, apart from Alex. But that is it. Oh, look at his face. Look at the grimace.
I'm actually reading corner kick statistics.
Oh, God, here we go. He can't let it go, can he?
It's 4.5%, so I'm even more right.
Well, that's dreadful. 4.5%.
That's across the Premier League for the last 5 seasons. So.
Alex, if you got 4.5% in an examination, you would be highly disappointed with yourself, would you not?
That's Premier League teams.
That's absolute
what
bollocks.
It is. It's fact.
Look, Alex, you've been proved wrong. Just let it go, right? Just let it go, mate. It's just one of those things. Guys, do you not think when he grimaces like that, he looks like that guy off Bake Off?
It's because I'm blind. And
he looks like that Paul Hollywood. Do it again.
I can't.
He looks like Paul. He looks like Paul Hollywood. Do you not think he does off the Bake Off when he grimaces like that?
Like everyone. I need to see it again.
Alex, just sort of,
do it again.
Look, he does.
Yeah.
And you look a bit like Prue.
I look a bit like who?
Prue.
Who the fuck is Prue?
His cohort. His cohort with the glasses.
The one beside Paul Hollywood.
I didn't say Mary Berry. At least I didn't get that far.
Good
night, everybody.